Hello everyone, welcome to Nerd On at Power Morphicon 2018. My name's Tom and I'm joined here by...
Addy.
So Addy, why, we're here at Power Morphicon. Do you mind telling us a little bit?
It's crazy that like I'm even here at Power Morphicon, right?
No, not at all.
Really?
No. Why would it be crazy? I mean, for me specifically, it was funny because, you know, when we got an email talking about like, you know, we'd be able to talk to you, you know, it's like, oh, the showrunner of Castlevania. It's like, and then we looked it up, it's like, he also did the Bootleg universe, which had the great, you know, short film that a lot of people were talking about. Power Ranger fans kind of like came out of the woodwork and like, I loved it.
I had no idea that people even watched Power Rangers. This was just kind of how I saw the show as a 7-year-old.
Okay. And so it just kind of, I mean, and I feel like what you did, you know, as a 7-year-old watching it, then you kind of just took the natural step of like how it would be for an adult to be watching it or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, I loved it. I think it was really cool because it, you know, from fan to, you know, creator, it really felt like someone was taking a serious look into like how we can, you know, adapt the source material into something that could be really expanded upon the landscape. So.
Dude, thank you. Heck yeah. No, it was, you know what was the best thing? So I dropped this thing and like, it wasn't designed for a casual audience, right? Because there was literally references in it that you would only understand had you watched season 1 and season 2, right? 100%. There was like literally dialogue in there that had no establishing shots, right? So it was like we didn't explain who the Green Ranger was. Nothing was explained, right? It was literally made for a very niche audience in my mind of people who watched this obscure TV show that only I loved.
Only you.
That only I loved in my mind. And then all of a sudden, like, the fact that like that many people liked it and they were like, this is, I'm like, oh my God, this is what it feels like to not be alone. That's like what went on in my head, yeah.
To reach out to a community. I mean, and you've also done that really well with Dirty Laundry. We actually on Nerd On has had a podcast episode purely on that short film. And I'll tell you this right now, when, you know, Josh, the president of our company, we were both there, you know, ground level watching on YouTube when it came out. You know, we were saying like, man, I wish Tom Jane had come back as the Punisher. And then this came out and we absolutely loved it. So, I mean, like, there's no doubt with, you know, any part of our bodies that when you take charge of a character or something that means a lot to people who have watched, you know, or played or interacted with something that you're a part of, that you do it really, really well.
Dope.
So,
yeah, I want to be like the Tom Ford of brands. Like fandom, you know, like nerd culture.
But I mean, Tom Ford also has made great films too. So,
I mean, like Tom Ford, like clothes. You know what I mean? Like if your clothes suck, your clothing brand's whack. Like you dropped some shoes that did not work and it ruined your brand. You call in Tom Ford and Tom Ford fixes that shit.
Yeah, I mean, you're already. I feel like you're already there. To me,
really?
To be honest.
Sweet.
I mean, I've, you know, we're kind of also talking about, you know, Castlevania season 2 coming out. I've watched season 1 and I love it.
Dude, that was another thing. It was really nuts. Like, like it was supposed to be a super niche show, right? Like after Power Rangers, Power / Rangers came out, the unauthorized version of the
Bootleg universe.
Bootleg universe, exactly. I was actually like going to leave Hollywood. This was one of the final things that I wanted to do, and I was like, I'm gonna make this, then I'm gonna leave. And to the point where I'd literally had some infrastructure set up, I shut it all down. And then Netflix reached out to me on Twitter.
Wow.
And then I like went to a meeting at Netflix, like some like executives who were super cool. They weren't like normal Hollywood executives,
they weren't
right?
Suits or anything.
Yeah, they weren't suits. That was the thing, because I like don't like suits. I feel like suits have led to like the destruction of humanity in a lot of ways. And man, I'm like sitting there with these Netflix people, and they're like, "What do you want to do? Like, you know, you can go make it. Like, no strings attached, right?" And I'm just like, "Are these people for real?" So I was like, "All right, well, Castlevania, but it has to be an anime." Yeah, and then the show came out, but it was supposed to be it was another thing. It was supposed to be a niche. It was supposed to be niche.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
and then it ended up being like the second most streamed thing that they had that quarter. And like that was crazy.
And the viral marketing for it, you know, where you have the console and you have the old tube TV, you know, it was like it brought everyone back to that feeling, and that's. I think what you really strike really well upon is that you are able to connect generations, and not even just like, these are the 90s kids and the 80s kids or 70s, it's like, it's just an entire generation if everyone's been affected by it.
Appreciate that. I think that comes from me being an outsider too. because I'm not really from, I don't really belong anywhere.
You may say you just don't identify with certain communities.
Or even cultures, because I was born in India, moved to Hong Kong, then grew up in China for a bit, then Singapore, family in the Middle East as well, like
Mixed bag of everything.
yeah. And then I moved to America. I immigrated here by myself when I was 16.
Wow. That's
And then
crazy.
Really to engage with American culture because I wanted to like be an artist, and it's like hard to be an artist anywhere else because it just is, whatever it was. But it wasn't ever like a goal-oriented thing like that. The way I said that more like in a joking way. It was more about like there were stories that I needed to tell.
And we're also joined by...
Steve Cardenas, aka Rocky the Red Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Nice. So this is a little 2-for-1 kind of deal.
Yeah, sure.
We were talking a little bit about Castlevania, but I guess we could talk a little bit about how Power Morphicon's been going on so far, for the past 2 days.
Well, this one's been great. This is definitely probably the biggest one for sure. But we've been doing Power Morphicon since 2007.
Oh.
So
And it's every 2 years.
Times every 2 years, yeah. So the first one I ever did, that was the first convention I ever did, was Power Morphicon. I got invited. They were like, hey, come to the Hilton downtown LA, and check it out. So it was a lot of fun because I had nothing to do with Power Rangers for like 10 years after I left the show. And I went to this hotel and there was like 800 people waiting in the lobby. And as soon as I walked through the lobby, they just started applauding. And I was like, wow, man. People are still into Power Rangers, man. It's
That's
so
a
crazy.
beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was
That's a
amazing.
beautiful
Yeah,
moment,
it was incredible.
right? Because this is something from your past, from your childhood, really, that you'd like kind of left behind. Because it became a global language for me, right? Like someone may not.
It's community.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I had never experienced that, until I had seen that, because when I was on the show, the only fans we'd ever meet were sometimes little kids would come to the set, or maybe some famous people would bring their kids to the set, and most of the kids were too shy to talk to us anyway.
Dude, I used to
Now they're all
lie.
grown up
I used
and
to
they're like-
lie to people.
Yeah.
I used to lie to people and be like, yeah, I went and hung out with some Power Rangers.
Speaking of, how do you guys know each other? How do you guys meet?
Well, actually, this is the first time we're actually meeting, but we talked on Twitter because when he made the bootleg, the Power Ranger, Power/Rangers,
Yeah.
I loved it so much because he put my character in there as like one of the main characters in there. So I reached out, I was like, dude, I was just really appreciated and enjoyed that movie. Thank you so much. And he was like, dude, you defeated Ivan Ooze. You're Rocky the Red Ranger. And he was like more excited to meet me than I was to meet him.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is cool, man. So then we've just been keeping in touch ever since pretty much. And then I heard he was going to do he was going to be here and he was like, let's do a panel together. So we're going to do a panel later tonight.
Oh.
Yeah, a little Q&A panel.
So maybe some future collaborations in the Bootleg universe? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Totally.
Do it, man. I'm
Dude,
open
totally.
to it for sure.
That'd be amazing.
That would,
Totally.
It would be awesome.
Your generation of Power Rangers, you guys are like kind of like the gatekeepers of the franchise in a lot of ways, Because it's like, it wasn't really created by anybody.
Right.
It was like a stitched together amalgamation of a few different ideas, put together, broadcasted on TV in a time period where there was no access to information, so people didn't know what they were watching. They were just taking it at face value,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
influenced them.
Just consuming.
Right. Now people can go back and historically go like, okay, what I was viewing wasn't actually what was being made, but I still have these memories of it.
Yeah.
And now it's been corporatized into that thing, so it's now real.
Right.
But you guys are the faces of it.
Kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the hotel and the 800 people. Like it's found its resurgence. Like the kids who were watching you then are now growing up and being adults, and now actually can spend hundreds of dollars to be here and meet you guys and be part of something that they grew up with, which has been amazing.
Yeah, well, it's just like a perfect storm, I think, of like social media coming up at the right time that these young millennials are growing up and starting to get active in it and things like that. That combined with just pop culture in general, just surging like crazy. So all those things together have just kept it alive.
I think it's the democratization of art that actually did this. Because the reason I was telling these guys earlier, I made that short in a vacuum. I didn't think anyone watched Power Rangers.
So wrong, right?
So I had no idea. Right? I was like,
But that's crazy. It seems to me like you really had like your finger on the pulse of like, what was out there. Because,
That's what I said.
I mean, I thought it was.
because it's just how I viewed the show
Right,
as a 7-year-old, right? But what was super crazy was, I feel like at the time Power Rangers came out, it was viewed as like lowbrow. It was almost something that was like made fun of. was like mocked,
well, it certainly
right?
was a joke in the industry. I mean,
Right.
It was hard to get a job.
Totally.
You were on Power Ranger, like, they wouldn't see me for an audition.
The same thing with wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? World Wrestling Federation at the time, Stone Cold, like those guys killed it. It was like huge, right? Even World Championship Wrestling, like those guys are massive. Same thing. There's almost like this, and I'm kind of like happy like Hollywood kind of imploded and now it's being like rebuilt by the streaming platforms because now it's like democratic. It's like, what do the people want to see? And it's like, you know, before there was like a stranglehold on media, so it was like you as a Power Ranger were never going to be on the magazine, on People magazine, Sexiest Man Alive,
Yeah.
which would then make you the lead of, I don't know, fucking Green Lantern or some shit, right? Like that was the process by which you got it. Like you weren't going to get cast in that movie that was going to get you that Oscar nomination.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
these doors closed for completely arbitrary reasons because the industry was built in a way that
Very
lacked-
archaic system.
in an archaic system that is being slowly like
Weeded out now at this point.
done. Yeah,
On the people.
you have an audience. People are actually showing up
From all around the world,
Yeah.
waiting in line.
Pretty crazy.
to see you,
Buying
not the
your
Red
shirts.
Ranger, not the Red
right,
Ranger,
I love
to
it.
see you because there's multiple Red Rangers. That's the other thing.
Yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, I mean,
It was your interpretation. Like Rocky was so different to Jason,
right.
right? Like Jason had this like kind of almost this stoic thing going on.
Yeah. Well, 'cause he was like the de facto leader, you know. Sometimes, you know, the good guys can never be, you know, like we have to be sort of one-dimensional, but the bad guys are always, you know, can be
Anything they
the
want.
top. Exactly, you know what I mean? So, but it was fun. Like as it got later, you know, like when I started doing Zeo and stuff like that, they gave my character a lot more to do. So that was a lot more fun. You got my character more depth. But in the beginning, it was like I had no acting experience, so it was like I hired me for martial arts, and that was it. And so they had to teach me how to act. So it was all on job training. So in the beginning, I was like, you know, a few lines here and there, and then as time went on, it developed more. But it was still fun though, a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, I know you guys met up today, so you guys can converse and talk about things in the panel.
Addy, Shankar. Yeah, I don't really want to plug anything.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
But if I had to plug something, it would be Castlevania Season 2,
there you go.
October 26th on Netflix.
Nice.
Oh yeah, there's 8 episodes. Oh, and Bodied comes out November 2nd, too.
Nice.
Awesome. And for me right now, you know, I think Steve Cardenas, Red Power Ranger. You can just follow me on my social media. I'm traveling a lot right now, touring with Comic-Cons, trying to meet as many fans as possible this year, going all over the world, every weekend, different cities. So I'm always posting up on my Instagram. You can find it Steve Cardenas PR, and you can look up and see if I'm going to be in a city near you, so we can hang out and say what's up.
It's awesome. Thank you guys. And as always, nerd on.
Yeah, nerd on. Like not nerd on.